Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Buy Round Interview Show. Now, today's guest is one of my favourite people or favourite persons to be on tour with. Someone who I've spent an incredible amount of time one-on-one with, where we're going to talk about all things life, rugby league, and talk about our Botanical Gardens walk.
Botanical Gardens special today.
Yeah, Botanical Gardens special. This is actually genuinely true.
Yeah.
We did spend a lot of time walking on our day off in Botanical Gardens.
Yeah.
We got caught once.
Nearly ended up on what they call a gondola.
Yeah, we said
I had to press triangle on that one. GTA, press triangle, I wasn't getting on that. As soon as you brought that up, I was half tempted, and I thought, someone sees me on that.
Didn't someone else come into the gardens after it? And we were like, oh thank God they didn't come in.
It was in Melbourne, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Melbourne
it was
Botanical
Melbourne Botanical Gardens.
Which is a very strange thing to do, but funny.
Yeah, but it was good.
I ended up like a tradition.
Yeah,
everywhere
it
I went,
did.
have they got a Botanical Gardens here?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. We'll talk about some of our strange but true conversations. It's a man who has actually turned his back on England. I'd like to introduce Aussie Josh, Tribal Hodgson.
Aussie Josh, I'm sick of you saying that. There was you, Smell, George when he was over here, Batty, they all just called me Aussie Josh, and I'm probably the only one that is still talking like I used to when I was back in England.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, I don't reckon I know.
Yeah. You missed the tribal part as well there, as well.
But I'm half Samoan. I don't know if anyone's seen it. I'm half Samoan. You know, Josh Papali knows that. My brother from another mother. 16, thinking I was the lad walking round Hull in a white vest. Jeez, where the time goes.
Mate, just on the Aussie side of things, I've got a couple of questions for you because these are some big ones. So, whereabouts in Sydney are we now?
Do you know what? I've actually not a clue. I had to go on maps.
So I'd say
I'm near the
city
city.
centre.
Yeah, I'm near the city.
I'd say city centre.
No, you wouldn't. You texted me last night.
You said
this is where we go every conversation. Last night, my reply from Jam was, "It's right near the CBD."
No,
and I was like, "What is a CBD?" And then I realised I'm talking to Jammer, and it must be the city centre.
Yeah, it was interesting as well because we just had a coffee before. I was wondering if he was saying, "Oh, gee, how have you been settling in Sydney?" I said, "Oh, did you go away anywhere?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I just went overseas."
Is that coffee shop you said heaps good?
Yeah, Dylan Brown's a good number 6, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Standoff.
Standoff.
He's a good standoff, mate.
Not 5'8".
No.
All right.
Standoff. I might say it every now and then on Fox, and then I think as soon as I'd say something in an interview, I think Jammer's going to watch that, and I'll get a little clip on my phone going,
"Oh, mate, it makes me excited to see you come up on the TV screen. I'm ready and waiting."
It's the same with pronouncing my H's. Normally, anyone from Hull does not say Hull. If you say Hull when you're from Hull, they're like, "Who do you think you are?" So I'd say Hull, but obviously because people can't understand a word I'm saying when I speak like that, pronounce my H's a bit better.
And now that you're in Sydney, have you been getting in the sea much?
No, there's too many sharks. No. I don't go in there. Do you know when you say the ocean? I know what's coming before you even say it. Do you remember that time when you said to me, you usually do this little pointy knuckle thing, you calling them the Dragons and the Raiders, and I was like, everyone says that, and you was like, no, I do it. So I said, right, hang on. So you say St. George Illawarra every time, you're like, yeah, and then about 2 hours later, I heard you talking to Matt Crowell, and you was like, yeah, down at the Dragons. I was like, you hypocrite.
I do refer, like I call the team that plays in the eastern suburbs
like you'd say Canterbury, you wouldn't say Bulldogs.
Yeah,
and
I'd also say Sydney City.
So if you control his
I'd say
podcast,
Sydney City, not the Roosters.
So if you control his podcast and find clips where he says Dragons or anything like that, it'd be much appreciated.
All right. Anyway, and now that winter's set in, I bet you've bought your biggest doona over from Canberra.
Doona. Remember that time with Bear he said Doona? So this is going to sound weird for people listening, but especially whenever the English lads are together, if you hear someone say an Australian word, there's like an instant pause and everyone just looks. And then Sam was talking about a time when he'd lost his doona, and then me and Jammer have just like mid-sip just gone, oh, that's one of the worst ones we've ever had.
That is a bad one. That is a bad one. And he realized, but I think Sam's accepted it. He's accepted it. We're still sort of holding on a little bit.
Yeah. Still trying to call ourselves English.
Choose our words very carefully. And it is a bit risky bringing you on because you do like to return serve a lot. And probably disclose some of my annoying habits. We do like for the listeners and viewers out there. We have spent a lot of time together on tour. Like we were, joined at the hip a little bit when we used to get. Oh, where are you two going?
Yeah, like day off, just mad walk of where we're going.
But let's get a couple of your little shit things that you do out the way to start. So. Spend a lot of time with them, and you pick up on little things that you do,
such as.
So when you go for a coffee, the barista's spending all that time on the latte art, right? Coffee gets presented to you. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. Josh Hodgson doesn't put sugar into it, but he'll stir it.
Yeah, because it's still not quite mixed together, right? So when they've done a pattern. Like at Christmas, we'll do a Christmas tree or whatever. You can just see the milk on the top. So I'm like, I like all thoroughly mixed, so it's just one color, very plain color.
Really, really pisses me off.
I know it does. So then I purposefully do it and send you videos of doing it. And do you know what though? All comes off the back of that is my little bent spoon trick. So.
Well, I was just that is next. So his next little trick. Every single cafe, he will. Bend the teaspoon, wiggle it around so it's fully bent. Put it in the coffee, and then when the waiter is coming past, I was, excuse me, who made this coffee? Like, it's so hot. Can you take it back? And they're like, oh yeah, sorry. And then they'll like pull the spoon out, and it's like bent,
just folding over like that. And their face every time, just complete shock, like they've never seen. And then obviously once I laugh, they realise. But
yeah.
See, that brings on that. So if I didn't stir my coffee, we couldn't have had the laughs with that. So it's like a bit of give and take.
Give and take. You also had a really annoying habit of whenever we were in camp and on a night out, you'd get John Bateman completely wound up and then smoke bomb and leave.
No. What do you mean?
Mate, you'd always just be poking him. Like,
but he's
just little subtle things.
Yeah.
And he's doing this one, and he's like, and then you just know when he's getting to like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
just before he's about to get you in his famous or infamous headlock.
Yeah, you got to see you later.
See you lads. Or you wouldn't even say bye. You were a smoke bomber.
I'm just going to toilet.
Yeah, smoke bomber. We did have some amazing times in camp, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. We'll talk everything from how out of touch from reality rugby league players really are, how much you'd be willing to risk your life for in certain situations, and how much time for a team based in a non-desirable location. We've covered a lot of topics on tour together.
We have.
That's some of the great things about tour, where you just sat around with a group of lads and you're just talking, and
just talking. If anyone else was listening in, they'd be like, "What are they on about?"
Yeah.
You spend that much time, your conversations just take left turns where you're like, "Well, there's only so many times going. What coffee do you drink?"
Yeah,
like, you've got to go. Hang on a minute.
And then every now and then someone will throw a situation at you and you're like, ooh,
yeah. Like Zach when he reckons he'd put 35 past De Gea.
So
that was one of the worst.
It was more than that.
That was one of the worst I've ever heard. That was one of the most
infuriating shouts ever. So,
and the confidence he said it.
But basically, there's a bit of history to this question and the situation. But so say you've put you put the world's best goalkeeper in goal, and you've got 50 penalties against them. See, like, how many do you score?
Yeah, and we were saying if you get 10, you're absolutely over the moon. Like, because bearing in mind, you're probably not going to put 50 on target, and then them ones that are on target, you're going to have to hit the side net or top bins or somehow send him the wrong way.
Incredible speed as well.
Yeah, like the speed footballers here is ridiculous. Like, people just think, oh yeah, he's kicked it left. Like, no, like
And then we've asked this question to a bit of the group, and some people get like, oh, maybe like 25, and I'm like, that's bullshit. You're not appreciative of just how good Premier League goalkeepers are. Like you're just on another planet.
And you're right now 50%, which is like against a Premier League goal.
And what would the conversion rate be in the Premier League itself?
Like, and let's say you spray 10, so you're saying out of 40 you're getting 25. This is the rabbit hole we get down.
And then Zach Hardy sort of like nonchalantly just entered the conversation. And was like, what, 50? Oh, well, I'd get like, what, 40, 45?
And we're like, what?
Zach, you'd be a starting, Man City would be in for you.
Yeah, I know, because you're guaranteed £15 a year for them. Like, no, it's not happening. And he was like, oh, well at least 35.
You don't realise how good I am.
And then we explained, like, obviously all the detail we just went through, how good keepers are, how many going to get on target. Went, well, still 35 at least. And how adamant he was. He probably still is, knowing him. He's probably still adamant.
It'd be like a footy player to run like a short lead off you. Into like the Burgess boys. Like
how many times
you get 10. Oh no, try line. So basically, in a short confined space,
5 meter grid.
5 meter grid. You get 20 runs or 50 runs. Like they're not scoring.
No, they're not.
They're not scoring.
No, but Zach is.
And there's been some other questionable.
Yeah, he was just the one that stood out.
Yeah, that he really stood out. But there's been a few more where people are like, like you can see this like little bit of confidence. Like,
and then once they've said it, they can't back down. Typical rugby player, the ego comes up.
Yeah, and then even little things like
back to me. Back to I annoy him.
Back to I annoy him. Yeah, but we'll get to that. Life in Sydney, Archie, how are you settling in?
Yeah, good. First couple of months was a little bit difficult with me. Probably my eldest. He'd been at school, obviously primary school, for about a year and a half. So he was a little bit different getting him to change. But kids are pretty resilient. So once he got in his school and met a few friends and started playing football and all stuff like that on a weekend, he's you noticed I didn't say soccer. Well, he was dying for me to say soccer.
I was wondering which type of foot I was going to say. I was going to ask you.
Because we're English, we're talking football. So yeah, he plays football on a Saturday, and then. Now they're settled, that's a lot easier. And we live close to training, like with a suburb next door to where we train. Look how much he's loving I said suburb, but and then everywhere's close for us. So in terms of us as a family, it works. And and like anything, your kids are happy, you're happy. So and footy wise, I'm enjoying footy down at Para. We footy again. Look, you see, I'm trying to make sure people know what I'm saying, mate. You could just see you laughing out the corner of my eye every time I say a word.
Right, I'll stop. I'm gonna draw a line in the sand, and I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
You just speaking how you want to speak.
So yeah, everything's good, mate. Everything's good.
Yeah, good. And is it much different to life in Canberra?
Yeah, it is. I think I found in Sydney people kind of stay within the real close proximity to where they live normally. Like if they don't have to leave the little area with the shops and the schools and that, they don't really. Whereas Canberra's a bit more spread out, probably because it's easier to get around. Like you'll end up going all over Canberra just to do whatever with the kids, or just go see friends, or even just a day out with the kids. You kind of go all over. But I found Sydney, most people kind of stay in the area. Like if people from Manly usually stay in Manly, or people like we're at my area, all the neighbours and stuff near me, they kind of don't leave their area. So I found that's a little bit different. But then once you try and leave, you understand why, because it's like an hour and a half in the morning just
you
to
don't
go.
like the traffic?
No, I never have. I've always lived close to training. So as soon as I see traffic backed up, I'm like, oh, here we go. Then I stick on the bar around and listen. I was listening to you the other day, actually.
Where?
Yeah, you and George, the George's one. George Burgess.
Oh, yeah. It
I
was a good episode.
That one the other day, yeah, it was.
Did anything did anything change with your training when you moved up to Sydney?
I think probably the biggest thing, mate, is obviously being out so long. I wanted to try and get in early because I knew coming back, I was coming back off an ACL. I knew coming back off the last couple how important it was just to hit the ground running. And a new club like yourself, I'm proud man as it is in terms of how I go about my business in training and how I play. So I knew it was really important to hit the ground running. So I tried getting in early and getting my weight to, probably the ideal weight, what I needed to be at, doing weights constantly last year and not a lot of running for the first probably 3 months. I think I got out to about 97 or so kilos, and I play at around 91 for.
Because I was going to say, there was a photo of you doing the rounds.
yeah, that one was just doctored. I was nice and light there.
Was that a doctored photo?
No, it wasn't doctored. It was just good lighting, like throwing a pass at the right time, right? Like, I said it to my missus. You bet you wish I come home looking like that every day. Instead, she sees this old man pottering through the door, just being cooked in 40 degrees.
Because there's been a few doctored photos of you.
Chicken out of a bag from Coles, just potting through the door.
There's a few good doctored photographs of you, isn't there?
Yeah, usually you and your mate, Big Ali, the Pitbull one. Yeah, there's a few pottering around.
That was brilliant. We'll have to get that one up for our buy-round listeners.
Batty bought a friggin', when we was playing at Canberra, Batty bought a person to put in the crowd when it was COVID and put me as Pitbull, and then they've got it on Fox as me with him. They've enlarged my forehead and the glasses. And then they're like that bit on Fox. Oh, they're zooming on me and then zooming on this thing, and he's
I
just.
Didn't know. That is, mate. John Bateman.
We was playing out.
It was hard for John Bateman to go up in my estimation, but that is absolutely.
It was
genius.
one. I swear it was him. It was one of them, but it was definitely him. I'm telling you, because we was playing out at Campbelltown. That was our home ground, which made no sense because we had 0 cases in Canberra, and we was having to drive 4 hours to New South Wales for home games where there was cases, and then drive back straight after. Long story that, but yeah, I turned up and I'm potting around, and lads are like, "Oh, go look over there, man. Just go look over there." Then I just seen them creasing, and there's just and like there was, when everyone was going through that phase of like putting stupid people in the crowd and all that, and he must have just thought,
there was a couple of bad,
a couple of like real bad ones.
Yeah, there was a few naughty ones.
They must have thought, I'll jump right on this, and then there's me with an head like Mega Man.
Was it the one with the sunglasses
on and the massive head like
Mega Man? I know the photograph.
Yeah, so
brilliant.
That one.
Yeah. Well done, whoever did that. Well done.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you whatever I'll buy you a drink next time I see you.
So we might as well buy Batty one because it'll be in
him. How have you assessed the Eels season so far? To just get onto a little bit of football chat.
See,
I know.
Yeah,
we said we were going to stop.
All right, I've stopped
because it was a real tough draw to start the season, playing a number of the big, a lot of the favourite teams to sort of, or a lot of the favourites for this year's competition. A lot of teams coming off buys.
Yeah,
you made the group made a grand final last year, but you seem to have turned it around.
Yeah,
lately, and a big win against Souths. That must have been a big confidence boost.
We spoke about the last 2 games, obviously being Souths and then the win on the weekend against the Cowboys. We spoke about those 2 games going into the bye was going to be massive for our year in terms of where we're standing. I think for us as a team, it's an old cliche that a lot of people saying it doesn't really give fans much comfort because it don't give you any more points. But we have been beating ourselves when you look back over games and I think our completions. I think we're near the bottom of the ladder in terms of completions for the year, and you off the back of that, you're a big side. It don't complement each other real well. So, possession is obviously key for any team, and, even more when you've got a big side like ourselves. And I think we've got a lot of determination. I think a lot of teams that was in our similar position against some of those teams with the completion rates we had, especially those first 5 rounds, probably playing probably the 5 toughest teams we could have played. I think a lot of teams get blown away, and I think we didn't lose one by, more than a try. So
it was like, you were 0-4, but your for and against was like -12 or something stupid,
so
wasn't it?
We've got that determination and that fight, and you know yourself. You're playing teams when if we're on, it doesn't matter, we'll win. And it's nice to have that feeling. We just haven't been putting as many wins on the board as what we've needed. And I've had this similar kind of thing when I was at Canberra. Whenever you make a grand final, the next year everyone's coming for you, like every game. And the amount of teams you see, that we play, then go play somebody else the next week, and they're not quite up to scratch because it's took a lot out of them.
Does your head in that, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we've...
it does.
Yeah, I know, genuinely, you'll see them. Yeah, they'll have a nightmare the next week, but they're absolutely brilliant against. So, but that comes with the territory of having a good year the year before, and we knew that was coming. There's obviously been a bit of a change in personnel too. Myself and a couple of back rows that have left, and then a few people on the bench spots that have left and have been replaced. So a few kids have got the chance this year, like Woody, big Wiremu Greg, Offaki Ogden. He's done well this year when he's come in. A few other kids that have got a chance at, maybe weren't playing as much last year, and I think they've stepped up and done a good job. And I think we've seen with those boys that the more we've played, the better they've got, which is a good sign for our year going forward.
Yeah. You mentioned Canberra. How was it playing against them?
It was different. More like the build-up was kind of different. Obviously, going there, being in the away sheds, and something I've never done before, and then just being, I'm obviously very close with a few of the players down there that I've played alongside for a lot of years, and then when you're with each other every day, and all of a sudden you go play against them, it was a little bit different in the build-up, just not talking to them at all and trying to get ready to go. But then once the game kicks off, it's it's like playing international against someone you play at club level. It's just you're into it and you're trying to win. So it was a little bit different, and obviously not the result we wanted as a team down there. It was an hard place to go, and we knew we was going to have to be good down there. But again, we just we killed ourselves. So, but full credit to Canberra, they deserved the win that night.
Yeah. So just with Parramatta moving forward for the rest of the year, you're pretty confident you can give the 8 a nudge, get in there and give it a shake.
We definitely can, mate. I think you look at our team, we've got a fantastic side, and we've been riddled with injuries at the minute too. We've got Regan Campbell-Gillard out, Sean Lane's still out, Ryan Matson just did his calf, Joffo come on the weekend, he's just done his calf on the weekend, he lasted 10 minutes. I think Andrew Davey hopefully might be back, he got a head knock, so we've got quite a few on the sidelines too in key positions, especially at back row. So we'll get them men back on deck and start getting some real confidence about the place and giving the comp a shake up. I think what's good this year is how close the competition is. Like everyone's kind of beating everyone. Yeah. It's hard to pick. Even Canberra and Souths on the weekend. I remember watching that game, thinking I think this will be a tough game for Canberra going down there. Souths just got beat by us the week before. I think they might turn it on, but it's hard to pick. Tigers and Penrith the other week. I don't think anybody pictured that. So the comp in being how tight it is certainly helps us with a bit of a poor start.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking at it, it's a couple of wins, and then you're right back in contention for top 4.
And you'll know as well, mate. And I think this is one thing, as probably in all the bloke in the team, I try and bring is in them moments when you're not going real good, is you can massively overanalyze in terms of you as a team, what you're doing, every little aspect of your game. You can look at things you probably do anyway when you're winning and wonder if that's why you're losing and question everything that you're doing. So I think it's important that when you've been around a long time and you're one of the blokes that's been through those periods, you make sure you keep it real simple. It's not, the game's been around a long time, and if you complete high, you defend well, and you just effort for each other is through the roof. You're going to win more than you lose. Yeah,
so the result sort of takes care of itself.
There's a lot of detail behind that you fix up during the week, but if you tick them 3 things more often than you do, then you're going to win more games than you lose. So I think that that emphasis was drawn on, especially the last couple of games.
Yeah, get a few more players back, a couple of wins in your belt, and you'll be laughing. Talked about those walks, and we'd often chat just about how different life for us was growing up versus what life is like for our kids. It's a bit of a contrast, isn't it?
Chalk and cheese, when you think, I know certainly where I'm from, love the place, I love the place, and it gets a bad rap in my opinion, no matter who you speak to, whether we're on camp together and it's a few of the lads from other cities or a few of the Australian lads when I was on World Cup, obviously that I know, or the Samoan boys was asking what's Hull like when they was over there where I'm from. Anyone who's not from Hull always says it's a terrible place, but it's a great place. I love it. I'm real proud of being from there. I wouldn't have picked anywhere else, to be honest, because it made me the person I am, and it's got great people down there. But in terms of if you could picture an ideal place where you want to bring up kids, I think what the lifestyle we've got out here is. Your kids don't realise how lucky they are, and everybody says that, but you kind of don't want them to at the same time either. So the kids have got a great life out here, and it's as you say, it's a hell of a lot different to what kind of bring ups are. But in that, I think it's hard because these are the things that I find as a dad. You want your kids to have that bounce back ability, like resilient, and you want them to have appreciation for things in life, but then you don't want to put them through things that's going to make them. So it's like a real hard balance. So, there's something that comes from being, brought up with a family that ain't got a lot of money, and you can't just go here, and you can't just go out for dinner when you want. And there's something that develops inside you, what makes you that hunger to be successful in life, and then you want to give your kids that, but you don't want to. It's a real total iron subject, I think.
It is strange, isn't it? Even like some of the foods that like your kids are eating.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And that sounds so stupid to people. Probably some people are like, what are you talking about? But like
the idea of going to a sushi shop or a sushi train. Like for me growing up in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like I don't reckon anyone at our school had sushi before.
It's just a different lifestyle altogether over here compared to at home. Yeah. Yeah. It's just and that's probably not the best example, but it's just, I don't know, there's just, I don't know, just like just a lot of time knocking about. And I grew up in a house of 7. You had a big family,
big family, and just,
well, I find nowadays, as well, kids are constantly entertained, like everything they do. Like if it's an iPad or it's a phone or it's like we'll go to the park or it's like, I remember most of my childhood was just like, probably why I got into rugby was take him out, just take him to training. Like, so I'd go out with a rugby ball, me and my brother, and that's just how it started. Like, it was probably just something to get me out of the house just because I was doing my mum's head in. And it's something that don't cost a lot of money. That's why, another thing that,
How good's that phrase? You're doing my head in.
Doing my head in.
That is a proper...
Just get him out of the house because he's doing my head in.
You are doing my head in.
Yeah, well, that's...
Get out.
That was me and my brother down to a T. 11 months between us, and we just used to argue and fight over anything. It could be a straw on the table, and we'd both argue whose straw it was. So that was just... I think it was just a way to get us out of the house was rugby. And obviously, I had a great childhood and a lovely family who provided everything for me that I ever needed. I don't mean it like that, but we want a wealthy family. We like cricket and tennis and all these kind of sports in England. In England, when you're from up north, they get seen as like the kind of posher sports for families that got a bit of money and private schools, and football and rugby, soccer and rugby, as you'd call it, are the two that kind of the blue collar kids go play because it don't cost a lot of money. You just need a ball.
Jumpers for goalposts, and
that's it.
A ball, and you congregate on the park. And
that's it.
Play till it's dark.
And as soon as the street lights come on, go right, gotta go.
Yeah, it literally is. And you know what, mate? It's funny. We were speaking with Mark Geyer, and he spoke about his upbringing out in Penrith, and like he didn't have much. But you know what? I think, and it's funny speaking about the balance. You want to provide for your kids, but I don't know, like, do we fall into the trap of like trying to buy their happiness?
Yeah.
Where like all they want is attention, and like you should then put more emphasis and attention on the time.
Yeah.
And being present than actually like, I've got this brand new shiny bike. It was X amount of hundreds of dollars or whatever.
I know. And it's true because then, the full world's the same. Everyone sits like this.
Yeah.
So the kids will be at the park playing. We're all guilty of it every now and then. You do it, you're like, what am I doing here? Like, so it's true, and it's hard to find that balance of you don't want them to be spoilt, but you want them to have the things they need. So it's that that's the thing I probably struggle with as a dad, to try and get that balance. So I'm probably a strict dad, I'd say. My wife always says I'm pretty strict, not in terms of anything overly stupid, like you're not allowed to have a lolly or sweet, as you'd say, or whatever. But I think it's important that they have got a good life, that they have good morals, good manners, and I'm strict on all the little things like that.
Yeah, a bit of appreciation.
Yeah, if they don't say thank yous. And like the other week, this is one of my misses. We had a bit of a ding dong about the other week. Like my little girl was just kicking off, as they do. So then she was saying like she don't care about makeup, and like she has this like pretend makeup stuff, and go for your life. Like I don't really like it, but I just go with the flow just to keep an happy household. So I was like, oh. So she's kicking off, and I can hear her kicking off and shouting, and I don't care about my makeup and all this. And then she started throwing it on the phone. Right. Went upstairs, just bagged it all and just launched it in the bin. Went, you don't care how much money that stuff cost people that bought you it? Well, I'll just go in the bin then, and just launched it like Mrs. bought it like a week ago. So I was like, well, now she'll care because now she got it.
Yeah.
So then, like, we had a bit of a thing about that. So then it was like, well, I'm just trying to show her that things cost money. So then she has to do jobs to get some dollars to then, because it's like, otherwise, how do you
Yeah.
How do you figure that out?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a tricky one, but at the same time, it's fun as well.
Yeah.
Like it's the best thing in the world being a dad, but at the same time, it's that.
I know exactly what you mean, and like we're in a very fortunate situation now and position now, but it's not always been that way. And
yeah, no, and it's not like you're millionaires and you sat there with mansions and butlers, and you just think that
it's just so different from life growing up.
Yeah, and I think that's just a lot of the world, not just because we play footy or whatever. I think the majority of people, especially in the areas that we tend to live in up here, the kids have got a really good life, and that don't mean they need any restrictions on that, but it's important when you often see kids that are real spoiled, in my opinion, growing up, and then later on in life leads them down a bad path if they ain't got good morals and good discipline. So that's usually what I struggle with after trying to keep the kids from getting too spoiled.
Yeah, but you enjoy, like, that's it. I look back and I enjoyed growing up.
Yeah,
like with not much.
No,
it made you appreciate things.
Of course it does.
And what we had is lots of laughs.
Yeah,
like
because all you're doing is just constantly, we call it larking, just playing out, playing out with your mates, just larking out every night. Yeah. What should we do? No, I don't know. Just grab the football and go field and rugby ball and have a kick around.
Yeah, but like
game of slam.
Yeah, game of Red Arc. Did you play Red Arc or Tunnel of Death?
Yeah,
did you play
Tunnel of Death now.
No, Tunnel was good.
No.
Yeah, and then back home, like my brothers are a fair bit older than me, but just constant fighting and just like breaking computer. We had a Commodore 64.
Yeah.
That I broke because my brother Danny was a complete shithouse, like absolute shithouse.
Oh yeah,
he cheated in this game. I was fuming.
You don't sound it.
I can still remember it to this day.
No, I'm not surprised.
Emlyn uses international soccer.
Yeah,
right. That was the name of the game.
Yeah,
and I think there was only two teams in it, like England and West Germany. That's how old it is.
Yeah,
there was West Germany, like.
Yeah,
a lot of our listeners wouldn't even know.
Have a clue, no.
So Germany had this player called Snyder, right? And there was a glitch in the game. Yeah. So if you passed the ball to Snyder, who played right wing, and you held the joystick down and pressed shoot, it'd go in.
Yeah.
It was like this fault or cheat or whatever.
Yeah.
So, there's only two teams. He's West Germany, I'm England. We'll make a deal. No Snyder specials, because no one in the England team could do it.
Snyder specials.
Right.
I love how you've named it. Listen, no Snyder specials.
No Snyder specials, all right? Yeah. Sound. Perfect. All right, well, I'm winning 2-1 in the 8th and 9th minute.
He's just pulled it out of the bag.
Passed it to Snyder. Bink! I've just gone, I have gone absolutely like ape shit.
Yeah.
Like he's it's like the crime of the century to me that he's just like and I've gone ape, like smashed my fist into the Commodore 64 thing,
just broke it.
He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, we said no Snyder specials. He's like, well, you broke the computer.
How mad is it when you look back at stupid things like that? Like,
I know.
And your mum and dad must be thinking, you've just broke the computer because he scored a goal against you. What are you doing? Like, cost them a fortune. You've just smashed it.
Or even things like, we play like a game, and back in the day when PlayStation used to have like a memory card.
Yeah, you just take it out.
Yeah, or like
PlayStation 1.
But it had like a limited amount.
Yeah. And you could erase some of the data. Delete the
just
game
like
so
that.
You could save
I need to save. There's not much left. There's no space on the memory card left.
And you swear blind you didn't delete it.
Not me.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Crash Bandicoot's gone.
Or the old, like the video, like you record something off the telly.
Yeah.
Put the videotape in and peel the tab off.
Tape over it.
Well, you peel the tab off, so then you couldn't tape over it right. But then my brother, or a couple of them, shithouses, they put tape over it. They put like a little bit of sellotape over it, and then you could re-record over it. That replaced the tab. It's like, who's recorded over this? Why am I watching this now? Or my sisters were bad at that, like recording like the Titanic off ITV.
Yeah.
Like, you got to sit through it with adverts in every 15 minutes. But like, I've got some rugby game on there. Fucking like, what are you? Like going to your parents, like,
and it's like the crime of the century. But they're just like, go away, like I don't care.
Yeah, it's just a routine.
And you never got it back then. What do you mean you don't care? But then
I'm reliving this now over like some of the crap arguments I get at home. I forget that's me.
I know.
There's been some Snyder specials done at home because someone stole a toothbrush or something. Or
Even when I got older, like we used to have the same thing. Fighting up computer games was always a fight. Like whoever loses, the other one's gonna fight. So we used to have the same thing, but you couldn't pass it around at the back. So if you get a lead, that is honestly
brilliant.
That is,
and then
I know.
And then you'd see them getting round up.
I remember this one time. I was like, this wasn't even when we were younger. I was like 22. So I was like 22 now. So this is out. Even if I played FIFA now and you did that, I'd be fuming. So we said, right, listen, me and my younger brother Joe used to come round and after training or whatnot, night before a game, we'd have a few games of FIFA. So I said, right, listen, no messing about, don't pass it around at the back. We just go best of 5, it's 2-2. And then all of a sudden, he scored a goal, go 2-1 up. There's like 10 minutes to go on FIFA, which is like maybe a minute.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right, I need to get the goalie. I need to score. I can't lose tonight because I will go to bed fuming. Even if I get beat legit, I'm going to bed fuming. So competitive. And all of a sudden he's done the old, pass it back to the keeper. And I've gone, and then he's gone, no, it was an accident, and then I'm chasing him down. Then he passes to his left back and I'm going, and then he's going, well, I've got to pass it somewhere. And then he went back. I threw him out. Get out. He won't. I went, you're cheating. I kicked him out and then I let him come back about an hour later. I went, right, we're playing again. That didn't count, playing again. And I was fuming. But again, computer games, you can have some.
I've got a few mates, the big shit houses. So
pass around out the back.
Not just pass around at the back, but also like wind you up. It's like, and then like
and you try and pretend you're not bothered for ages, and then you're just chasing them like.
Mate. Well, you can actually do your tactics to like press now. I'm sure it's advanced.
I don't know.
But you know what? The even bigger shithouse: triangle, through ball, 1-on-1 with the keeper, and they press start, pause. And you'd be
I love a pause.
I can tell you would love a pause.
That's me, that.
You'd love a pause.
And then I'd say, slipped off square. I slipped off square, went slide tackle.
That's like a chinnable offence.
And then
I reckon that is. I reckon if someone pauses you 1-on-1, you can throw one. Like that is
one of my specials.
You can lob the remote and just go and swing for them.
This is what I used to do. If it was through on goal, and if it's 1-all, I'm pausing. I'm running the risk.
Yeah, I can tell.
So then as I actually get through, I've got a defender nearby. I'm going smack pause. And then I'm going, I went to press square slide tackle. I'll go, you tell me when you're ready. We'll count down from 3. Then I'll go 3. Then I'll press play on 2. Then go get him slide tackle. Every time works. And then the blokes will go, I can't help it. You get it me next. You get me. And then I'm preempting them getting me. So I'm not fussed. I forgot about that one.
This isn't as bad, but I if you go to like a penalty shootout, and you're like, don't look.
I love the look.
Don't you look?
I love the look.
Like you're trying to. Like,
I love it when you play someone and they don't understand about the look, and you're just like, you're just like, hang on, I'll just watch where he's going, just flick right.
You're so predictable. So predictable.
I bet. And then as soon as he presses shoot and left,
don't say what are the chances. 1 in 6.
I don't know. It felt like it was yesterday.
How bad's that? Mate, we're going off. But,
yeah, cool.
Geez, where are we? We're going to take a quick break from the show to talk about our new partner, AG1. Now, I love AG1. I've been taking them for about 6 months now. I've noticed multiple health benefits. My gut feels better. My focus is more clear. My intensity in my workouts has gone up as well. And this is all thanks to AG1. It's the one-stop solution for all your supplement needs. I love starting my day with a refreshing glass of AG1. So simple. 1 scoop in the glass, some cold water, give it a stir, or if you want to go fancy and get the shake, do that as well. But it's so easy. It takes out the guesswork with your supplement requirements. If you miss it in the morning, take it at night. I never miss a day with AG1, and I am reaping the rewards from it. And the best thing about it is it tastes great too. And you can really start to feel the benefits. Have it as a simple part of your routine, and you'll see the benefits too. So if you're looking to make positive change with your health outcomes, check out AG1. You will not be disappointed. There's 75 high quality ingredients. Take care of all your nutritious needs every single day. It's a small habit that you start and gets big results. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So to check out this exclusive buy round listeners deal, head to athleticgreens.com/buy round. That's athleticgreens.com/buy round. Your only place to get the free 1-year supply of vitamin D from Athletic Greens plus 5 free travel packs. Make sure you check it out or click in the show notes where we'll have that link for you as well. Please don't delay and get your Athletic Greens today. You make a name at Hull KR. I didn't realise you started at FC.
Yeah, I come through the juniors at FC. Love FC too, which is a weird thing to say when you play for Hull KR.
Because you supported them growing up.
No, I actually supported Wigan, which makes no sense. So I grew up in Hull, 2 teams from Hull, and then the first game I ever watched the rugby league was, I think it was Wigan and Leeds Rhinos. Wigan was playing Leeds in I think it was a Challenge Cup final, and they won. And I was like 4. So then typical 4-year-old just went, I like them now. And then I just never changed when they had Jason Robinson and Andy Farrell. And then when
so you were a glory hunter?
I basically was, yeah. But then after that, they didn't win an awful lot. But I just stuck with them anyway. They won in the early days when I was little, but after that, they didn't win an awful lot. And then obviously once I started playing scholarships and academies and stuff, I didn't support them. But as a kid, I loved Wigan. And then come through the juniors at FC, went on scholarship then, I was about 13. Come right through the academies, reserve grade, which was 21s back then. Debuted in 2009 against Warrington. We got pipped, played 2 games. And then it was a bit of a weird situation because I kind of didn't want to go. But at the same time, I kind of had to for my career. Because they had Sean Berrigan, who was starting now, and then they had Tommy Lee coming off the bench. Then they had Danny Houghton, who was obviously still there now, who was kind of the backup to them two, and then myself. So there was kind of playing me. I used to play a bit bigger back then. I was kind of playing me a bit of back row just to try and learn it, and then loose forward as well. And that's where I actually debuted at loose forward. So debuted, then played the week after, and then subsequently was talking to Justin Morgan about going across to Hull KR, and Daniel Fitzhenry had just gone back, so then he had Ben Fisher. So for me, it was an hard decision, but I'd always kind of said I'll do what's best by my career to get playing, and I was backing myself to go to Hull KR and get some games and try and be successful. So it was a tough decision to leave because a lot of people, especially at LFC, had put a lot of time and effort into me as a kid in developing me, and give people like Steve Crooks, who was one of the academy coaches there and who had been for years. He's a great bloke, isn't he, Steve? People like that I thought about, when I had to leave, and Andy Last, and there's a Cole Stevenson who was there for a while as well. A lot of those blokes in and around the academy that had put a lot of effort into me, and Lee Radford I was with at the time, he coached me as a kid, and then I was obviously in the full-time squad alongside Lee. So it was a tough decision to make, but I was actually saying to FC at the time, it was James Rule was the CEO, and it was kind of a bit weird. I was just doing it by myself as a young kid. I was 18. I was on 10 grand a year, and I was struggling just to pay me board at home and fill up my car, and I didn't leave me with a lot of money left in the month. So I think I'd got Player of the Year for the reserves the year before, and then I obviously signed that year full time. And I was saying to him, look, I don't really want to leave. If you give me 12 grand, I'll stay. I just need 12. I just need a bit more money to live. It'd be £1,000 a month. That extra couple of hundred every month will help me out. And just kept saying, I don't have it. We just don't have it. I said, look, it's just I know. So this is how it went. So he said, look, we really want to keep you 10 grand. There was a second year option. I said, well, if I'm doing low money again and I'm going to be struggling, I'll just do a year deal. I'll back myself to earn another one. So I said, look, if you just give me 12, I'll sign. So then I said, it's not about money. I want to, try and get in the team, blah, blah, blah. And this was whilst I was talking to Hull KR, so I was real to and fro, because I knew there was an opportunity at Hull KR, but I loved Hull FC. So it was a weird one. And then he kept saying I'd not got it, and I can't remember the name it was, but it was quite a big Aussie name. It might have been Mark O'Mealy or Fitzgibbon or one of them. it was a week or two after I heard there was signing this, well, obviously a big name Aussie, and I was like, you ain't got $2,000 for me. We're about to go spend, however much on someone from Australia to come play. Like it just, as me as a young kid, like I just thought, I'm trying to sacrifice an opportunity to stay here for just for a bit more money to help me live and just back myself to go again better the next year.
And again, just to clarify, we're talking $2,000 a year.
Yeah,
like if there's any listeners there, this is like an extra $2,000. Yeah, from 10 grand a year.
Yeah, and 10 grand is decent for your first contract. A lot of kids over there get like 6 and 8 like back then. So some of my mates was on 6 and window cleaning on the days off. So I also felt a bit of a bit hard because I felt like I was being ungrateful for that. But I was just saying, gives us another $2,000, it'll help me live. And then when they kind of said they'd not got it and was adamant he didn't have it, then I just kind of said, well, look, I was talking to OKR now, I'll go back, talk to OKR, and their offer was similar. It wasn't like it was money why I went, but then, I spoke to Justin Morgan. He said he'd been watching me for a couple of years now, watched me the year before and nearly came in, and there was like a fee, like a transfer fee whenever you sign someone. That's being developed at another club, but it's like next to nothing. It's not going to be hundreds of thousands of nothing. It was a small amount. So, thankfully, it was actually the Rovers supporters group who collected that money and helped the club bring me across there. So Rovers supporters group that was called. So it was thank you to those guys that got me there because that got me the opportunity. Ultimately I signed for OKR, which I stayed there for the next 5 years, and I learnt some real good lessons under some good people there. We had some good players. Michael Dobson was our scrum half. Blake Green was our 6. We had Scott Morrell, Reece Lovegrove, Clint Newton, Mick Vella, Ben Gleer. We had some really good pros down there, especially that first year when I got there. Were like Clint Newton, Ben Gleer, Mick Vella, Michael Dobson, and some great players. Ben Fisher, who taught me a lot, growing up, in terms of just the non-negotiables that you need to be a good number 9, your passing, your service, your selection. So he used to help me out a lot. So I got a lot of time for fish, and I went there and it, just kind of took the opportunity with 2 hands. It took me a little while to get going, being a young kid. I think I was only 19 when I played there, coming off the bench for fish, and just developed as the years went, and met some great people and some great coaches. They're a great club with a massive fan base, as are both full clubs. It's strange feeling for someone who bled black and white as a kid. As soon as I joined that scholarship, I was black and white, and I was until I left. And then as soon as I moved codes, obviously, then I'm red and white. But in terms of now, I love them both. Like I like them both to do well. For me, ideally, if I looked at Super League, they'd be sitting at 1 and 2, and both are doing real well. But I think when you move away from that helps you realise that. I think when you're in that bubble, you just one or the other, and you can't really mix. But I think for the game in England and especially the game in Hull to keep getting bigger, the bigger those 2 teams can be, the better. Get more kids playing and get more people interested in the sport over there.
Yeah, I agree. I know, speaking to you in the past about coming over, Clint Newton played a big part. Did he used to take you down to see Danny Badiris at Leeds? Yeah,
he did, yeah. Probably the 2 brains that I picked the most was Michael Dobson a little bit, just to ask him kind of what it was like in Canberra when I knew they was coming up, but mainly was Ben Gleer and Clint Newton. Newt was always a real good fella in terms of he'd do anything he needed, like after training. Like we used to have this wrestle room and this like industrial estate we used to use as a team, and he'd ask if we could rent out an hour longer or on a day off, and he'd meet us, a few of us young boys there, and just teach us some bits that he learnt at Melbourne, and just anything you needed to pick his brains on, he was always open to. And the same with Ben Gleer, like anything you needed away from footy, to do with footy, he'd look at my clips for me. When I started playing a bit of middle, he'd look at my clips for me. If I thought I was, doing something a bit wrong, he'd watch it for me and sit down with me and explain to me, you're being a bit hard on yourself here, or if you do this might help, or, for me as a young kid, that meant a lot because, ultimately, you want the people around you to be proud of playing alongside you, no matter who you are. You want to be stood next to someone and go, yeah, I love playing with him. And so I knew that if they're telling me to do those things, it's going to make the team better, and it's going to make them want to play alongside me even more. And there was a couple of blokes that I leaned on a lot, especially when I started thinking about coming over here. But earlier on in the piece before I spoke about coming over here, yeah, Newt's teed up going meeting Danny Medeiros when he was at Leeds at the time, and me and Ben Fisher just drove to his house and sat down with him and just basically picked his brains about, he was killing it at Leeds, and obviously he was a world-class player for a long, long time. So being I think I was 20, 21 or 22 at that time, I could never turn down the opportunity to go.
That's a huge thing for Medeiros to do, to look after a number 9 from another club.
Yeah.
Like,
he didn't have a clue who I was. He's just maybe seen me play for OKR, but he wouldn't have a clue if he walked past me in the street, more than likely. And then to invite me, not just to come see him, but it was in his house, like to go to his house in Leeds, take his time out of his day just to sit with us and talk about how he looks at the game, how he sees things, where he sees, position, like points and positions on the field to exploit teams, and what kind of areas he looks at. All of a sudden, I went from being, kind of all my focus was just a running 9, and that was a kind of how I used to play the game. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of success doing that, and sometimes need to do that more. But that it can only get you so long. Like if you just run, you're never going to have a 10, 15-year career as a number 9. You need to learn about the game. You need to study the game. What makes teams tick? What teams don't like players who play with certain styles. There's all different things you need to learn. So that kind of opened my mind to really studying the game. As before, I've just kind of just played, and if I had a few good runs, I'd have been happy, and made my tackles, I'd been happy. But I didn't really think too much about studying the game in terms of field position, what defenders to manipulate, how to manipulate spaces, and possession rates, where to turn the ball over. So that kind of opened up that kind of box for me. It was like Pandora's box. Once I kind of spoke to him, then all of a sudden I couldn't stop studying the game. So it was good of him to do that, and good of Newt to set it up.
Yeah, it's incredible, really. So you go on and you have a number of years there at Hull KR, but then the decision to come over here. What was behind that? Because at the time, there'd been a couple of English players come out here, but we'd already been established on the international scene. So, Burgess boys, myself. But then you were the next to come. But at the time, you hadn't played for England.
No,
you'd been playing at Hull KR, but not really being on the radar, I guess, of most NRL clubs. You did play for England that following year, or that year you got picked, but you hadn't played there before. No. So, how did it all come about?
Well, I always knew I wanted to. Just because I'd always watched the NRL as a kid, and it's always seen as, and it's the most intense, rugby league competition in the world. So I'd always knew I wanted to competitive bloke. No matter what I'm doing in life, just like we was talking about the whole PlayStation, no matter what I'm doing in life, if I'm cleaning a toilet, as I said to you before, if I'm cleaning a toilet, I guarantee I'll clean that toilet better than the blokes next to me, and that's just how I am. So no matter what I'm doing in life, I want to test myself to the best standard, and I knew I always wanted to come, and I'd always said to myself, I'll make, the tough decisions if I need to, because I didn't want to finish a career with any regrets, and looking back, going, I should have took that opportunity or anything like that. So, it kind of came up the year before, didn't quite happen.
At Canberra the year before?
No, the Roosters the year before. It didn't quite happen. There was a transfer fee, and that kind of fell through the year before. And Steve Mack was the assistant at Roosters at the time, and I think Trent Robinson was at Catalan a few years before and had seen me play, and they approached, and obviously I was interested in going, but OKR didn't let me go that year. And they said, look, it's too short notice, blah blah blah. If it comes up next year, we'll try and let you go. We've got a bit more time to think about things. We know your intentions are going, and long story really, because then I nearly ended up staying at Hull KR. So I said to my manager, keep testing the waters again, and see if there's anything there. And the only thing at the Roosters was, because I was nearly on that international scene, and there was some financial stuff to it as well. Like in terms of going to the Roosters, it wasn't going to be a lot of money, and I'd never lived out of Hull, never mind moved to the other side of the world, and to live in the middle of Sydney, and kind of the contract I was offering, I was panicking about that. I wanted to make sure it was, it wasn't a lot of money I was asking for, but it wasn't, cheap money as well in terms of what I was coming over for. Was So financially, I knew I was going to struggle living in Sydney with like there was no car and no apartment in the deal and anything like that. It was just like a kind of a minimum base salary. Come here, back yourself to do well, which I was, really excited about doing. And then the following year, obviously when that same opportunity came up at the Roosters, but then it was, basically the similar kind of deal. I was nearly breaking onto the international scene, and that's what made me kind of rethink it. And then there was obviously the financial stuff as well, living in Sydney away from my family, which I knew I was going to struggle with, because I've always been around all my family all my life. So I knew I was going to struggle with that. So I was, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I don't want to be the other side of the world, already missing all my family, and then constantly worrying about money as well. And, I just didn't need that extra headache. I thought if I want to go somewhere where I can go over there. Financially, it makes sense. I'm not going to absolutely struggle. I'm not going to be rich because it's my first deal over there. I'm not going to have loads of extra cash lying around, but I'm going to have enough where I can pay my bills and do my training and enjoy my life out there. So that was my main thing financially, and that box was obviously ticked a little bit the second year when I ended up going to Canberra, but that kind of didn't get ticked the second year at the Roosters. So that kind of made me think, where shall I go, shall I go? And then I decided that, I kind of informed the Roosters that I wasn't going to take it up. I said, I don't think I can take up your offer. I kind of just told them no. And Steve Mack actually, oh no, sorry, I've got this wrong way around. So originally, nothing came up. So I'd agreed a 5-year deal with Hull KR. So originally nothing came up.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so nothing came up originally. Sorry, not the second year, nothing came up just as yet. This is how my manager told me anyway. So the second year when he did the rounds again, my old manager in England, he did the rounds again the second year, nothing came up. So I was like, right, okay. So he said, okay, I want to talk to you. Neil, do you want to sit down with you, have a chat with you? Blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, no worries. I'll go sit with Neil. So Neil just said, oh, look, I think the Roosters had reached out, but was saying we're not sure yet or whatnot. But the offer was basically going to be the same the year before. And then Neil said, can we sit down? I said, look, there's a 5-year deal. It's decent money for you in terms of where we think you're at. We think this is a good offer for us as a club to make sure we keep you over the next 5 years. We love having you here and you're the captain of the club. So I basically shook hands with him, and said, yeah, I'll agree to that. Just kind of put to bed that I wanted limbo. I wasn't going to be questioning, am I going, am I staying? I had a lot of worries about living in the middle of Sydney and, as I said, about struggling, being away from family. I'm a very, family-orientated kid, and I was already worrying about that. And then on top of that, I was just about to break just about to break the international scene. So, as I was kind of pushing. I was 18th man on the Exiles in 13, and then I was pushing for the international spot in 14. And then going to the Roosters, I was going to be back up to Jake Friend, obviously. So some weeks I might be on the bench, but then some weeks I might be cup. And I was battling with that second year in terms of where I'm going to be at. So the first year, obviously, financially, I was like, I just couldn't do that anyway. Second year, once I started really pushing onto the international scene, I started thinking, I'm a real chance playing for England now. If I go over to Australia and some weeks I'm on the bench, some weeks I'm, playing cup because I'm behind Jake Friend, who, undeservedly deserved the 9 shirt for Roosters at the time. I thought, I don't think I'll be getting any international recognition anytime soon. So it was rather one path or the other. So I thought, right, I'm going to back myself, stay at OKR, and shook hands on this 5-year deal. And then literally within shaking hands on the 5-year deal, 2 days later, he said, I'll get it drawn up and we'll sign it next week. So I said, yeah, no problem. So 2 days later, manager rings me, Aussie, Canberra want to speak to you. So I said, I've agreed a deal. Like, I've just, 5 years. He goes, oh, have you signed it? So I said, no, not signed it, but I've agreed it. He said, well, look, just talk to him and see how you feel. Because for me, if I've shook someone's hand, that's as good as scribbling down. So I spoke to him, spoke to Rick. I think I'm not sure it was, but they just had somebody who was supposed to be going there, didn't go. They had Glenn Buttress and a couple of other players at the time, but no one that they kind of said that's our 9. And then speaking to Rick, and he just said, look, if you come here, you work hard and you play, good footy and you play as well as what I've seen you play and I've watched your stuff, then you'll be L9. So you've got a chance to come here and be a starting in RL9 if you back yourself to do that. And then, that's why kind of my eyes lit up, and that was the opportunity I wanted. There's a lot to be said about opportunities in life, and I always think if you do it the right way, and you're honest about things, then you usually get the turnout that you want. So that was our kind of approach to things with Neil. You know, I asked Neil if I'd go around to his house, and I said, I just got something I want to talk to you about. He goes, oh, this doesn't sound good. So I said, no, you probably won't think it is. I said, look, I said, in terms of the deal I've got with you, said that's good as sign for me. Like, if you say to me now, no, you signed with us, then that's it. I'll sign the deal we did. I said, I'm a man of my word. I shook your hand. That's as good as me signing that 5-year deal. I said, but I've had an opportunity to go to Canberra. I said, they've come in and said that if I go there and I play well, I can be their starting 9. And I said, for me, at 24, just about 10, 25, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. So I said, I'd love to do it. I said, but I can promise you, if you say no, I don't hold any bad feelings towards you. And, you know, I can't take me off any more to him, because he just said, you know, I can't stop an opportunity like that for a young kid of your age going over there and testing himself. And he said, there'll be a bit of stuff we have to figure out with Canberra, but you have my word, I'll make it happen for you. So that kind of went from there. Then the Roosters, you know, they weren't too happy at the time, speaking to Steve Mack, how things had gone down, because I'd told them I was staying in England, and then obviously I went and signed for Canberra. And then I explained to them there was obviously 2 parts to it. There was financially, there was some things my manager should have said there was like a minimum expectations I was going to go for. And then obviously playing wise, I wanted to be playing games and try and get in the international scene. So Canberra ticked, you know, both boxes. You know, as I touched on before, I didn't come over for a lot of money. I was really a nobody when I came here. So it wasn't a lot of money I was coming for, but it was just enough to make sure I could live without stressing and just concentrate on my training and playing well. So that kind of ticked both boxes. And I don't think I could have picked a better club, to be honest. I think in Canberra. I think because what's so different down there is they've only maybe got Nick Hotrick and Jared Croker, who's from Goulburn down the road, that are actually from there. So I think me going there, it helped because everyone was away from their families as well. So they are a real tight-knit bunch. And that's the one thing I found down there, that because everyone's away from mums and dads and brothers, and they're all, you know, tight-knit. If you need something, they're all leaning on each other. If you're moving house, they'll all be around to help you move your stuff. And so that probably, I don't know if I'd have settled them first couple of years if I'd have gone to another club. Obviously I can't say no, but I know I already struggled in that kind of environment, settling, especially the first year. And then, you know, on top of that, you know, but I think if I'd have been in a big city, I'd have maybe, you know, I'm not from a big city myself, if I'd have been in a big city where everyone's a bit more spread out like they are when you come to Sydney, I think it'd have been a bit of a struggle away from Foy.
Yeah. Do you, so after that, you've made that decision, like you say, you're very family orientated. How was breaking the news to everyone at home?
Yeah, it was hard, really hard. I think, you know, most people just thought he won't go. Like, he won't go. He'll stay. He's not going nowhere. Like, so, you know, I used to speak to my brothers a lot about it, and they've just kind of said the same thing. If that opportunity comes, like, my dream as a kid was just to run out for Wigan. Like, that was all I used to say to everybody, be my Wigan shirt, and I'd just say I want to run out for Wigan. And then, you know, to have an opportunity like that present itself to me, I just, as I said before, I want to finish my career with, you know, no regrets. I didn't want to look back going, I should have done this or I should have done that. And I knew this was one of them opportunities that I just needed to try, whether it failed or whether it worked. I just had to go out there, work as hard as I possibly could to make sure it worked. And then if I do that, all I can control is what I can control, and that's work as hard as I can and give it everything. And if I do that, then whether I fail or whether I succeed, I've done my best. So tried to do that, and yeah, the rest is history. Yeah,
and your brothers and your family were supportive?
Yeah, there was, yeah. There wasn't none of them that was, you know, it is hard when you've always lived maybe 2 streets away, you're always around, like your family will be the same, like it's hard, but yeah, they was all supportive, they was all just, you know, excited, you know, talking about what an experience it'll be, and like some of the players was Googling them, like for, you'll be playing with like Papalelli and you'll be playing with Croker, and like they was Googling those lads and that, so I was like, yeah, and you know, then it all kind of, and obviously Stick had been around a long time, he'd been coaching, I think, Australia a few years before, and he was obviously a big name, everyone kind of knew Ricky Stewart playing for Australia back in the day, and so then talking to him was a bit surreal as well, you know, so yeah, it was one of them moments that there's a point in your career. There was 2 points in my career that shaped probably the rest of my life, to be honest. One of them was the OFC to KR, and then the second one was the was a whole chaos to Canberra, coming over to the NRL.
So you find yourself at Canberra and quickly establish yourself as one of the leading number 9s in the competition. I think you were close to a Dally M medal in 2016.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
16.
Mate, what was the reason behind such an uptick in your form? You've gone from this, kid playing in one of the lower base teams in Hull KR. All due respect to them at the time, but then coming here and dominating this competition. What do you put that down to?
A couple of things. Something, as I said before, I've always tried to stand by my whole career, and it's just working as hard as you possibly can. Not really leaving, no stone unturned, so to speak. In terms of my preparation before games, in pre-seasons, and making sure I'm as fit as I could possibly be. I knew I needed to play at a different weight class coming over here, and I knew it was a lot faster, so I needed to. I was playing in England at about 97. Used to play a bit of loose forward. I think coming to Canberra, I dropped about 4. I played about 93 that year. 93, 94. So there was the physical side of things as well, being fitter, and just my knowledge of the game. I thought, as we touched on earlier, speaking to Danny Medeiros, and that really opened, Pandora's box for me. I think coming over here, just how structured it is, and how, you really have to manipulate defences to try and get points, and defensively, how hard you have to work to try and keep teams out. I just think it brought out the best in me. And thirdly, and probably most importantly, was the team I had and the blokes around me. I think as a number 9, you can be the best number 9 in the world, but if your forwards aren't doing their business for you, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. If they're not whacking and bashing the opposition and really being off your hip either side when you need them to be, your middles and your back rowers, and there's not a lot you're going to be able to do anyway. They need to give you the options and the platform to go off. So my teammates in that side, from my days at Canberra and the same at Parramatta that I've got now, I've got some fantastic teammates down there and some unbelievable talent. So the talent I was playing alongside, certainly helped me perform to probably the best of my abilities. And you see that quite often, with players that go to good teams, when they've been at lower teams, they don't really stand out too much. Then all of a sudden you put them in a team with some world-class players around them, and it brings out the best in them. And I thought, that's what Canberra did to me in the early days. Yeah,
and you were joined by a couple of Englishmen as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
In Whitehead and Bateman. Did Whitehead come the same year as you?
No, he came in 16.
Come after?
Yeah, so Elliot's first year was 16. I think John's was 19. John came in 19. Right. Yeah, so he was a little bit later. Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't realise it was.
I think Ryan Sutton came before Batty. I think he came in 18. And then John came in 19. George came in 20.
And you liked having that sprinkle of, especially you and Elliot.
Yeah.
Like you were.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't a necessity for me. I got along with a lot of the lads down there. I'm really, obviously still really close with a few of them now. But it helps when you few sayings and just a bit, just the laughs you have, like
a little bit of banter.
Yeah, just like just a different style of humour. So it was good to get them down there, and there was good players too, and they added a lot to our team. So it was also that was a bonus for us as a team too. So I remember my first day at Canberra. We had a meeting, and I said something in video. I can't remember what I said, but not one person in the full building understood a word of what I just said. They all just bust out laughing and just asked what I just said. And from then on, that's when my speech ended up having to get a lot slower, and I pronounced my H's and got the nickname Aussie Josh. So that was the downfall of bringing smell over to Canberra and batting all those blokes, because I started getting called Aussie Josh.
We certainly picked up on that when we were in England camp as well. So you mentioned about Canberra and the sense of community that you create there as a club, because there's not many people from there.
Yeah.
What else about it? Because it does get a bit of a bad rap.
Yeah.
Canberra, like they went before you got here. I seem to remember like a few players going down there, and like they couldn't seem to attract players.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was based on location.
Yeah, I think there were a couple backflip. I think.
Yeah,
Tedesco,
well, they could have had Tedesco, couldn't they? But
think there was a few that did that. And I remember getting there. I remember speaking to Stick, and when he spoke to me about coming and what he was trying to build down there. And obviously he's a Canberra legend, so he was really emotional and passionate about making sure the club gets to where it needs to be. And I think in 15 we were tipped to get wooden spoon, and we'd be down there in the bottom three. 16, I think we were tipped to come maybe 10th. And I remember there was me, Sia Soliola, Jared Croker, I think maybe Dave Shillington in 15 was there. There's a couple of us older boys, and he just kind of said what he wanted to do and spoke about what he wanted to build down there at Canberra. And they had quite a few people who were still very young, like Jack White was still only really young then. I think he was 20 or 21. He was still young coming through. They had some real potential that was going to be big over the next few years. And we spoke about just making sure that we had good people in the building and people that wanted to be here. And we had that kind of mentality of, if they don't want to come here, then fuck them. We're not going to pay overs for them. And I think that's what really epitomised our build over the next few years. In terms of where we got when we was 15, and in 2015 when we got there, to where we were seen as a club to, I think in the next 7 years, and I think I did my knee the last year. So in the next 7 years, I think we made 2 prelims in a grand final. So he's a pretty big upscale in terms of performances and in terms of the culture that we built down there as a playing group. And that wasn't me individually or Jared or whoever. That was a team. We were a really close bunch. Jack Whiting has a massive effect on that team, and I think that's a big part of why they're playing well this year, because they want to send him out well. And Josh Papali, Sia Soliola, Jared Croker, who's going to play his 300th, I think, this week or next week. All these kind of blokes, that are massive senior figures now, but probably want real big senior figures back then. We're still young, and we all just came together we was all at the similar kind of ages, 23, 24. There was a couple of young lads that were a little bit younger, like Jack and a few of us. And we all just made sure we was all tight-knit, and that kind of happened naturally, but we all made sure we looked after each other, and we just made a pact that we were going to get good people in the building, and we were going to work hard. And it was kind of this them versus us mentality. We kind of had this mentality of everyone outside of Canberra wants you to lose and don't think you're going to do nothing, so let's go show them type thing. And I was proud to be, a part of that. And, it's something that when I retire, I'll probably look back on a bit more. I don't like to look back on too much until I finish. Now I'm in another club that I feel indebted to in Parramatta, because, I'm a bit different like that. I don't feel when I go to a club they owe me anything, whether it's money, what money you're on or whatnot. I feel indebted to them, because I feel like now I'm a part of their history forever. I'll forever be on their wall as a player who played for that club, and I'll forever be wanting them to do well. Whether I'm there or whether I'm not there, I want them to be successful when I'm gone and when I'm still playing. So now Parramatta's another one of those teams that I'm hoping I can bring some history to. They've never had a premiership since the 80s, I think it is. And they've certainly come close a couple of times, but not quite at it. So that is another club I'm really indebted to, and hoping we can bring some real success, and hopefully that's this year. Yeah,
in the sort of, I guess the heights are making the grand final at Canberra. What are your memories from that day? I guess from an outsider, it's all a bit of a blur. Yeah. I remember there was a controversial issue with the trainer, the 6 again.
Yeah. It was. I've still not watched it back. I said I won't watch it till whether I retire, or two things: either when I retire, or if we make another grand final, I'll watch it the week before, just to pick it apart a little bit and watch those moments that cost us and make sure they don't happen again. So that's the reason I've not watched it. But I think it was 8-8 at the time. We put a kick up, 5th and last, camped in the Roosters half. It was kind of set for set. Roosters dropped the ball, went up for a kick. I think it was Tedesco, went up, touched it, and then it come back. I think I caught it, thinking it was maybe still last, threw it to Tapine, and then Ben Cummins obviously called 6 again. And then he passed it on to Jacko, who'd obviously seen the 6 again call, so just took it in. And then he's changed his mind and gone 5 and last. Then the Roosters got the ball, and then I think subsequently went down the field and scored, made it 14-8, and that's obviously the way the game finished. So, a lot gets made of that. And, I think Ben Cummins obviously look up to it a fair bit for that, but refs make mistakes, players make mistakes, we make mistakes every week. It's unfortunate it was on the biggest scene, and Canberra's first grand final in 25 years, I think it was, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, refs make mistakes, and you've got to look back at yourself. We still could have defended that next player. We still could have just defended the try before that one. You know, you can't. If you want to be a successful team and a successful player, you can't blame external outputs on your results. You can't blame refs. You can't blame poor decisions. You can't blame the weather. You can't blame whatever it is. You sleep. You know, things are going to go against you. Whether you're feeling good on that day or whether you're feeling bad, you've got to turn up and you've got to do your job, and you've got to look at what you can control. And unfortunately, we didn't get the biscuits that day. You know, we come very close and made a prelim the following year in 20. But you know, we didn't quite get it done.
Yeah. You achieved a lot there at Canberra, coming over as this relatively young man from England. Spent a lot of time there. The decision to leave was a difficult one.
Yeah, it was, to be honest. Felt like a bit of a passing of the guard. I obviously knew they had Starling coming through now, and then my road kind of transitioned to starting the first kind of 20, getting the sting out of the game. You know, then Tommy'd kind of come on when the game opens up a little bit. I'd got to loose forward, just be competitive, basically, just try and bring whatever I could bring to the team, and then let Tommy do his thing. And I saw him coming through as the next kind of player, and it was a weird transition moment for me because I had to come to terms with the fact that, you know, that this is the next wave coming through now when I'm at, you know, the back end, and this is the kid who's seen it's coming through. But, you know, and at the same time, I'm always a team first kind of person. If I've got to put my ego in the pocket to try and get a team a result, I'd play on the wing if I needed to. Not sure how good I'd go, but I'd put on the wing if I needed to. If, you know, I'd rather play, you know, 5 minutes and us get the result than play 80 and us lose. So, wasn't too bothered about that. But then obviously got contacted I started talking to Parramatta. I think Reid Manny decided he was going to go to the Bulldogs. They'd obviously wanted to sign him, so I think he'd made his decision he was going there. Parramatta became an option to go sign there. And obviously, once I realised I was going to be a starting 9 again and back myself to try and be one of the best in the world again, I just jumped at the opportunity, the talent they've got down there. You know, I know the work ethic they've got down there. I spoke to Brad, and I know he likes to run things and seemed to really suit the way I like to play my game in terms of just his non-negotiables and all these things that he likes to do with his team, and how he likes them to defend, how he likes the mentality to be. You know, it suited me. So that kind of made sense. So it was the right step, I think, for both parties. I think for Canberra, they got the next generation coming through, and they've got players in the team that can run the team now that are coming of age. You know, they don't. You know, sometimes we had C's there for a couple of years, Ed and Caesar, and then we had Sammy Williams for parts. We had George Williams for a year. We kind of never had that 7 general overall that time. You know, you normally in a good team you need that dominant 7 to really control things, keep everybody calm when everything gets a bit out of whack. We only had that for, you know, periods there at Canberra, which was tough in the early days. But I found that I tried to take on that role of directing the team around and trying to steer the ship, especially once I got a little bit older. Just tried to bring that calmness to the team and direction. And then I think, you know, once blokes like Jacko and people like that came of age, you know, that they didn't need me to do that as much anymore, and I thought I was in good hands. And then obviously with Tommy and those boys coming through, it was the right decision to go to Parramatta, where, as I touched on, I've got a fantastic team, and another team where they're really hungry to get there. They're really hungry to win it. We've got some great competitors, and you know, and if, as I touched on before, if you're playing in a team where you know if you're on, no matter who you're playing, you're probably going to win. It's a nice feeling. So, you know, we can fix that up this year and make sure we end the year better than we started. Yeah.
Just in terms of the last one on just leaving Canberra, your relationship with Ricky Stewart's all good, and
all good. Yeah. I often send him a text if it's a big occasion or whatnot. You know, saying, all the boys do well today or whatnot. You know, it's
it wasn't like a falling out,
no,
or anything. It was just
these things happen. I rang him,
football, just life.
That's it, mate. Yeah,
is what it is.
I rang him and let him know that Paramount was interested, and you know, he said, if that's a good opportunity for you, mate, go take it. And you know, and that's what I did. So yeah, I love my time down there. I love the the relationships I made. It's very you know yourself, mate. It's very rare, even though you play alongside so many people. It's very rare you meet someone and think, well, more than one people, and you think, yeah, I'll be mates with them. I know in 20 years I'll still be talking to them, and I'll catch up with them. And there's a couple of boys down there that I know I'll still speak to, and I'm old and I'm all washed up, and my kids are doing things that I'm doing now, talking on podcasts and saying about how he plays football or whatever he does. But some of the relationships I made down there last a lifetime, and hopefully some of the relationships I make at Power will too.
Yeah, cool. That's what you get when you're playing. It's pretty special, that bond that you have with certain people. Matt, just touching on a few things in life with you. You've had your fair share of setbacks. I'm thinking about some of your injuries and whatnot. What have you learned from that? Is that the resilient mindset that you've formed through having some pretty shitty
I think
situations?
I think the biggest thing that I've probably learned is you can't listen to anyone else in terms of what you can't do in life. People will always tell you what you can't do, and it sounds a bit cliche. People always say you can't do this, you can't come back from this, can't come back from that. I ain't exactly come back the way I'd wanted this year, but at 33 years of age, coming back off a third knee reconstruction, even just to be playing at NRL standard is one achievement. But I'm not happy with that, and obviously I want to get a lot better than that. But I think a lot of people in my position just signed a couple of year deal at Parramatta when I was 32, when I did my knee last year at the start of the season. I already had that deal locked in. Could have had the rest of the year off at Canberra, not done the rehab. Just got me wages from Para, told them I'm not coming, and took, medically retired. That would have been a real easy way out, just to say, here's I'm out, and take your money, and don't really care what happens to Parramatta. That's their problem to fix. But first and foremost, I couldn't do that to them. They showed a lot of faith in bringing me over here and making sure I bring something to their team. That's something different. That is what they need. So first and foremost, couldn't do that to them, but couldn't do that to me, myself either. I've always said, no matter how long I play, I'll work as hard as I possibly can and do it for as long as I can until I know the time's right, when it's time to finish. And if I do that, whether it's trophies or whatnot, I'll retire knowing that I've worked as hard as I possibly can, and I drained everything out of my career I possibly can, and I won't have a regret. And I think if I'd have done that and I'd have retired earlier, I'd have had regrets. So, I'm glad I never. There's been some real tough setbacks, especially the third one. Missing all last year, especially being my last year at the club, missing all last year and not getting to play alongside some of those blokes was tough. And then plus, coming into this year off the back of a big layoff has took me a bit of a while to get going. So that's been tough too, especially when you really want to come to a club and make a real impact, and you're a proud bloke of how you perform and how you present yourself. And and then there's obviously things in life. I lost my brother in 2018, that was probably my biggest setback, over on my knees and everything. That killed me. A couple of years there. It's been a real hard few years of my life, especially the first 2 years. It was 11 months between us, and we'd always been, as I said before, fighting over whatnot. We'd fight over a straw. If you saw us in the street, you'd think we hated each other when we was kids, but we was always like twins. We used to get dressed the same. We both used to play rugby with the same teams. I'd play in his team, and then we kind of went our different ways. I stuck to rugby and he never, and I just presumed that once my career had finished and I could do what I wanted to do in life again, we'd get close like we was when we was younger, and to not have that rocked me there for a while.
Of course it would.
Yeah, so that was my toughest one. All the injuries and everything, I can deal with that. That was probably the toughest setback, and the relationships with the players down in Canberra, Stick, the coaches, even some of my friends that I met in Canberra away from rugby, that was nothing to do with that. There was just part of the team. Just the first two people to my house the next morning was Stick and Jacko. The next morning when I was supposed to have like a big barbecue at my house, it was kind of just before Christmas break. We had training. Next morning, they was all coming round for a bit of a drink and a barbecue, and then obviously got told my brother passed away, and Dick and Jack both turned up the next morning, and you know, there's things in life that you remember people for, and you know, I know anyone else would have turned up as well if they thought they was welcome or whatnot, but I'll always remember there's two faces at my door the next morning, and some things are bigger than others. You know, you can have 10 fights, I could have 10 or 50 fights with one of those two, and I'll always remember them turning at my house and being there when I needed them, and same with all those blokes, I was down there. So, you know, there's all the rugby relationships and stuff like that you get really close with people with, because of what you do on the field and off the field, how you are, how you get to know each other's families. But when you're really, you know, battling, and you really you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and the people who are there for you, remember them forever, and you know, I'll remember those blokes forever. Yeah,
it's more than a game, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes where you usually, when you're so competitive, you wrap yourself up in it so much, and that's always been my downfall. I think, you know, probably when I've not played my best, and whether that be internationally or club level, or you know, I'm that competitive. I start self-sabotaging everything. I dissect everything, like I said, on a team point of view. You know, you dissect everything, you wrap yourself up in it, you go home, you think about it, you go in bed, you're thinking about tomorrow, training, I'm going to do this, in the game this week, I need to do this, and you know, sometimes less is more. And it took me a while to figure that out, but yeah, it is more than a game, and sometimes things like that, you know, certainly open your eyes to there's more to life than rugby league. But you know, still love the game, and I always will.
Yeah, and you know, the people who are involved in your life through rugby league aren't just there for you on those 80 minutes.
And you know, just touching on, you know, the resilience kind of thing, I think, you know, to me, it sometimes feels like you got a sled on your back and someone's just chucked about 60 kilos on it, and you think, I just can't pull this. Like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't keep going. And then you just, all of a sudden, you start pulling it, and you just, and you find if you just keep going, it just becomes your norm. And then that 60 kilos don't feel like 60 kilos. It's normal for you to get stronger, and you learn that, you know, this is life and tough things happen, but you'll bounce back, and it'll make you stronger if you just get through it. Like, you just got to keep going. And then when you get going and you realise this is how things are, and it's not nice, but you've got to look at the world in a bigger picture, and you know, you can't keep going if you have this kind of Paul me mentality. You just got to keep going, and
just keep turning up,
keep turning up, keep working hard.
Keep turning up for yourself, for your loved ones.
That's it, yeah. And that's for everything in life, not just for if you've lost someone. It's for, you know, whether you're working hard to get a promotion or whatever. You just got to, you know, sometimes you feel like I'm, you know, pushing shit uphill up here, for want of a better term. I'm just not getting nowhere.
It's a great phrase.
Yeah, but
it is a great phrase. I feel like I'm pushing shit.
Yeah, I'm working so hard and getting nothing out of it. But the day stops, the day you fail. So you just got to keep going.
It's a message a lot of people need to hear. That life's fucking hard.
Yeah,
and it'll throw some shit at you. Yeah, throw some shit at you there. Yeah, like on and off the field.
Yeah, of course.
But you just kept going.
Yeah. And you got to, there's no matter what it is in life, no matter what you're doing, you're a painter or you're working in an office or whatever you're doing, there'll be hard moments in your life, but the moment you fail is the moment you stop and quit. You just got to keep going.
That's right. Sure is. I had a bit of a joke for you, but
ruin the mood. Sorry, Jamsey.
Didn't want to bring it up. Oh, fuck it, I will.
Go on.
You said like, oh, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
And like people, I bet you can't lick your own elbow.
I was going to say, I bet you can't. I was going to say, I thought he was going to say, I bet you can't grow a fringe. I'll try.
Bet you.
We're like Ronaldo in 98. She's little half circle at the front.
That would be
a little moat.
Brilliant. Original Ronaldo.
Little round moat at the front.
You won't. You won't. Is this home now?
Yeah, I think it is, mate. Yeah. You know, for me and the family, the kids were born here. I love the country in terms of, you know, the lifestyle you can have, and I also love rugby league, and that's massive here, so that suits me. And then, you know, a couple of years post-career, hopefully I want to get into coaching. That's, you know, something I'm really passionate about. I used to coach at an amateur level in England just because I love rugby. Used to, you know, love getting out helping out with the lads and try and do little bits with the younger fellas in our team when I get a chance, just to try and teach them what an old head might know. I'll sometimes look at kids and think he needs to be told this, because I remember being, like that when I was his age. So try and do a little bit of that now, but obviously first and foremost I'm thinking about playing, but a couple of years hopefully I can go into coaching.
And you've got a couple of family members over now, don't you?
Yeah, my nephew, he's at Newcastle. My brother and the rest of his family was living here. They've gone back. My niece and my nephew, they've gone back. Niece and nephew, they've gone back home and back to England. She's got GCSEs, so she's sitting them in England, and they're living back there for now. But theirs is pretty hard. My brother's got obviously one son over here, and two more in England, and a niece in England, so he's kind of torn. So well, he says he's torn. He just comes over here and golfs for like 4 weeks, and this is so hard. Golfs 4 times a week, but no, it's nice to have family close by, and it's nice.
And your nephew, he lived with you for a little while, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he lived with me in Canberra for a few weeks when he first got here, and it was nice to see him go to Newcastle. I always say that to him. I say, mate, if you lived with me for any longer, I'd end up pulling your head off.
Mate, I think last time we caught up, you were telling me like you paid for all his food.
Oh, he'll watch this and ring me.
Yeah, good. I want him to know like you paid. So because I need to know if this is true.
So
right?
This is true, right? True story, and he will 100% ring me saying it's not true. So he come here, no nothing, no bank account, no, like literally nothing set up. So I was like, right, what we're gonna do today is me and Kev will go to the shops. He said, I've got to train. I was like, right, all right, well, you go train. I'll meet you at the shops with Kev, and then we'll have some breakfast after you've trained, and then we'll go get your bank open, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no worries. So we're going to the shops, opened up, sat there waiting for about an hour. Bearing in mind, I've got like a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old just itching just to run off to the player, and like we're potting around the shop trying to keep him entertained. The player lasts about 10 minutes, and I was like, right, where is he? He finally turns up. I was like, right, come on then, mate, we'll have something to eat and we'll go to the bank. Oh, like what? Oh, forgot my stuff. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I forgot my passport and that. I was like, we can't open an account then, can you? And he was like, oh, what are we going to do? I was like, well, we're not opening one then, are we? So I was already annoyed.
Yeah.
End up going back home. So then, bearing in mind I'm having to pay for everything for him because he's got no means of any kind of money. He's got no account or nothing, which is fine. He's my nephew. I'm gonna obviously, but it's the next bit. It is, but it's the next bit which made it not. So then I opened the fridge. So then I opened the fridge. I thought, I'll get something to eat. Now what's this? And I just pulled up like this milkshake, like a milkshake he'd got from the garage or something. But I didn't know it was his. I just pulled it out, and then he's gone, whoa, put that back. It's mine. And I was just gone. Hey, he's going to put that back. You're not having none of that. That's mine. So I went, what? Like, what do you mean that's mine? Like, I was like, who bought you meals for the last like week and a half? And that's in my fridge. If I want to have a swig of it, I'll have a swig of it. Like, you're not saying that's mine. So he was like, well, it is mine, so you better not have none. So I was like, I don't even really like it, but now you said I better not have none, I'm definitely having some. So I just popped it, and I've took a swig and just put it back in the fridge, and then he just stormed out, took my car to go to garage, took my car and stormed off to garage in the car. And I was like, oh, so you're going to take my car to go get yourself another milkshake? Oh, honestly, these are the battles we have, and there's just one of many. But if you heard his side, you'd be like, no, he's wrong, he's lying. That would be his side of the story. So he's better in Newcastle than he would have been in Canberra.
Oh, that's brilliant. We are pushing on for time here, but we'll just get into a few of the things that happen on tour. I think the audience like to hear about that. We've not really gone too in depth on the walk. We've covered a little bit about that. I think you get the picture. But one of my favourite games to play on tour was the no talk game.
Oh, they were so bad.
That was bad.
Do
you remember Chris Hyington?
Chris Hyington, that was the worst one I was just about to say. That was so bad. So the no talk game, you basically, if you speak, there's always a forfeit. So
it was only no talk game to that person.
To that person, yeah. So like you'd say, and it was always someone who you just didn't want to do it to. So it was like someone who was real nice, you're like, I don't want to do it to them. So then Was it me who said it, or was it you? I think it was you.
I can't remember.
I think it was you who said whoever talks. I used to call him sausage because he had sausage hips just straight down. I think it was me. I'm sure I said whoever talks to sausage next.
Yeah. So Chris Hyington.
Yeah.
Had there was about 4 of us sat around the table, and Hyington was
walking over.
He'd gone to the bar or something, and then I think we'd said, right, next person that speaks to Heino has to do it, buy around a shot, or do a shot, something, whatever,
some forfeit.
Oh,
that was shocking.
Heino's come over.
Oh, and then he's gone, hey, really excited to talk to us.
Put the drinks down.
I remember he stood there, and I've just shuffled my chair this way like this, and he's like there, and I'm just, I'm biting my hands, and I'm like, and I'm looking at this man going, and he ain't got a clue what we're doing. And then I remember looking at him at the corner of my eye, and his face is just real confused, what is going on here? Why aren't these talking to me?
That was
shocking.
You'd shake off in have a little conversation. Well, pretend to have a little conversation.
It was that awkward because us 4 sat down and he was stood up on the edge there. We all just kind of turned in to talk to each other.
It's so immature. I remember, so this is the advancement of that game because people cottoned onto it and right, I know you're playing it, but then
talking to me.
And I remember doing with Luke Gale, doing all right, lads, when Gailey comes back, he's going to think we're playing the no talk game. But my signal will be we only start it when I cough.
You say.
When I cough. No, not when I say when I cough. The cough is the indiscreet signal. So we're all talking, hey, Gailey, hey, you thought we were going to play it, didn't you? And then just go, and then it's he's just
out of it.
Boom, out of it. And then everyone's like,
and you know what as well? Mate. When it happens to you, you know what's happening, but it's still horrendous. You're awful. Still come on, lads, please talk to me. And then they know when you know, then it's not hard not to speak to you. So you're cast out for at least 10 minutes.
It's horrendous. It is horrendous. We had some fantastic times. Some great people. Scott Taylor was...
Yeah. He's up there, one of the funny ones, isn't he? Anyone with a haircut, where you going? Pat Butchered.
Yeah, he was. Our Aussie listeners won't appreciate the Scott Taylor stuff, but he's one of those guys that you just need on a tour.
Yeah, just you can hear him from a mile away, and his voice is just there's no one with a similar voice. You don't hear him speak and go, who's that? Yeah, just know it straight away.
Him and Wayne Bennett had a great relationship with each other, didn't they? I don't think Wayne Bennett quite knew how to take Scott Taylor.
You just call him Bentos.
And you were there with the the spicy orange juice.
No, I come in just after, and you was telling me.
Yeah,
you was telling me just after you and you and Gailey.
Were you there when Bennett had the wasabi?
Wasabi, I was then. Yeah.
Were you at? Were you there?
Yeah,
were you at the restaurant?
Yeah, and he was coughing real bad.
Well, I wasn't there. I remember coming back, and you were like, "You'll never guess what. No. You'll never guess what." So this is another Wayne Bennett, almost death story through. Eating, so go on, I'll let you.
We was just out, and then he must have just fought off.
You were at a sushi restaurant?
Yeah, it was like a sushi restaurant, like a team meal. And then we'd just gone out and was at this sushi restaurant, and then he must have just put too much on. I don't know if he must have known what it was, but he just put too much on. But then he was just for ages. We're all looking up fucking hell. I think he's going to crock it. You're you all right? And we're all going, you all right, Wayne? He's going, he was the man, Wayne.
He was brilliant.
You can see why people just love being around him and playing for him. He's just loves his players, loves being around that kind of funny environment, creates it.
Do you remember when he was brutally honest? What did he say about you in that video that one time?
Which one?
He was just like, Josh, you just shit out of form at the minute, mate. And everyone was just like,
it was World Cup, was World Cup. I wasn't playing well. 17, and that's why you love him, because you know where you stand. And that's what he just said. He was watching video and I'd played shit and made a couple of errors. And he said, "Josh, fucking love you, mate, but you're not playing well at the minute. Josh is shit out of form, guys. All right." And I just told everyone, "Josh playing shit at the minute. We're gonna be right. We'll fucking get round him. He'll come good." And I was just like, Fuck yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, I am playing fucking shit. So
I didn't think you were playing that. It was just brilliant.
No, I was playing shit. But you know what? He was the master, because I remember when it was. I think it was the PNG game, and I think it was the quarters against PNG, and then we played Tonga the next week. And I've never met a coach like him who can just read what you need to be said to you when you need it. And I remember I was just walking to a meal, and he just pulled me aside and just said, you know, I know what you're thinking. I know you've put a lot of pressure on yourself to be the best, and I know you're thinking, you know, I might drop you because of this or because of that, and wondering what's going to happen internationally. And just said, you're my number 9, love you as a player, just relax and play, just do your thing. And then, you know, the Tonga game the next week, started the game real well, made a break, and we got to a real good start. I think it was winning 20-0, and I ended up doing my knee about 30 minutes in. But again, just the effect he can have on his players. And then, you know, subsequently that following year in 18, we went and did the test series against the Kiwis, and arguably probably had my best series there. So
it was amazing that.
Just that little bit, you know, he just got the knack of his people skills. You know yourself, you know, his people skills are through the roof, which is, you know, no surprise why the Dolphins are playing well this year, when everyone was, you know, kind of writing them off last year and saying they'll come bottom and stuff. I knew there was going to be there or thereabouts. So he just, you know, he's the man. You know what it's like.
Yeah, that test series was immense. I know State of Origin is around the corner, and people talk that up, but mate, that game at Anfield that we played against New Zealand,
that was my favourite one I'll ever look back at. I think, you know,
my favourite for me for obvious reasons, being in Liverpool. Unfortunately, I was captain due to Lockers being out, but what a game.
I know. To run out at Anfield, like, to be 1-0 up, play that hole, which was obviously great for me.
1-0 up, like we did a draw.
Jamsy's put it off a corner.
In the last minutes of extra time.
Jamsy's stuck one in the back of the net.
Set the back 4, lads. We get taking the ship up.
Well, we beat him in all, which was obviously great for me. Hometown, it was a close one. I think it was 18,
Ollie
16.
Gildart.
I think, yes.
Remember that in and away? Like, as if he's
that was another one of his infamous ones at half time against Kiwis when we was losing at Anfield, when he gave Ollie it and he told you just sit there, put your head in your hands and don't listen to what I'm saying, focus on yourself. Remember?
No.
That was it. You have to ask Ollie about that one, but that was another one where he just nailed. And then Ollie went out second half and had a great game as well. But yeah, to beat them 2-0 and then the second game be at Anfield, great atmosphere, just to get it sealed up 2-0, knowing the third week you've already wrapped it up.
The third week
we was low on troops that third week. It was all kind of, and we'd celebrated after winning the 2-0, so we weren't exactly fresh as a daisy. But yeah, that would be I think that game, and you know, my first proper test in England against the Kiwis when we won in 15 as well. Them two will be the games they're tests that I look back at and be, you know, real proud of my career. Especially that 18 one. You know, that was probably, you know, my favourite one to watch. If you ever watch highlights and stuff.
That game at Anfield, honestly, like I challenge anyone to watch that and not go like, wow, like that was a special sporting occasion.
Yeah, it was.
Like it was unbelievable. The amount of like back and forth and some of the like Tommy Makinson had like the game of his life.
Yeah, I know.
Like just, the game of his life.
I know, that try he managed to get where he'd done the all in and away and just got it down.
Yeah. Like it was, speaking of Wayne Bennett, he said that's the closest he's, because for those listeners that don't know, Wayne Bennett at the end, in the review of the game, will give each player a rating out of 10.
Yeah.
And he said that's the closest he's ever given. He's ever gone to giving a 10 to Tommy Mack out of his whole coaching career. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know.
But still, it would have been.
Yeah, he was on fire that day. And it was just the occasion brought it out of him. Sometimes like that happens. Like, it was just such a great game. And I'm like, for me, the level of pride. Like I broke down at the end of that game. Like I was. I was overcome with emotion, like overwhelmed, especially what we'd been through in 17.
Yeah, I know. Come so close.
That fundamentally, that group of players.
There's a
couple of different ones, but
well, you think really, like, you know, we had a good series in 15, obviously when we won Steve Max last year. 16, Four Nations didn't go too well, but we spoke about at that World Cup in 17, started trying to build something and. Made the first World Cup final, I think it was in 20 odd years or something. And then 18 did the test series again over the Kiwis, and we had that same real core of players, a couple of differences here and there, but
Think back to that World Cup, man, and just think, if you and Lockers were playing.
What's got it for 6-0 on it? Finish? Yeah. It's a close game.
Oh, man. But, though some of them that get away, unfortunately, isn't it? But we had such a good time on tour with so many good people.
Yeah. And that's what the biggest thing about team sports is, especially if you're going to be around people all the time and you're on tour, you've got to have people that get along. Like, you can't, they might be the best player in the world, but if they're a dickhead, you can't have them on tour for 8 weeks, because it's the group's just all of a sudden like, fuck him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to have good people that all get along, and then the staff they put in and around that just make it enjoyable to be around. And it's some of the best times you'll look at is when you're away, and playing for your country is always the biggest honour you can do as well. So
it is. And you also just need to ask just a quick one. If you're in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, right? Yeah. You've got a shark at one end. You need to swim a width, right? And the shark's in a cage at the other end. Yeah. Now, as soon as you break the plane of the water, the cage gets released. You need to be getting people that how much to do it, to swim width.
I'm going. Hang on, is the shark coming straight for me? Or
shark is
is the shark just being a shark?
Shark's just being a shark.
Right. And it's right at the other end.
Right
and
at the other end of an Olympic.
You
can dive into the pool and go swim as fast as you
can. Get maybe,
if you want to do that, or you can go secret.
I'm not SAS in
it. So you're creating a scene.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm
for the shark to go and investigate.
I'm not SAS in that. No,
you're not SAS in it because as soon as you break the plane of water,
I'm just legging it.
So how much to do it?
If I had to, so I can't say no. Minimum. See, this is where it gets tricky because someone always says $1 million, and then I go, all right, so 500 grand cash there, and I go, I'll take it. I go, well, I've halved you already. So by the end of the day, I'll have you for $5. So realistically, it's got to be 100 grand, I reckon. 100 grand, I'd do it.
Cash, tax free.
Yeah.
If I ever come into ridiculous sums of money, I am going to set this up.
It's a big 18-foot tiger shark, other side of a pool. OG?
Yeah.
It's me there. It's me there with my budgies on like that.
And film it all I reckon it'd make great TV. That, and then...
What about the wave you're going to have to sand?
And there's an electric fence up on the other end of the pool,
so you can't get out once you're in.
You're in.
As soon as you jump, the electric fence goes up behind you. There's
no I nearly got there.
100. I'm not going any less. Just for I couldn't do it any less.
So there's that, and I'll hire out whoever the best goalkeeper, the best goalkeeper is. Bring in rugby league players and say, all right, okay, let's see what you're made of.
Man, it'd be if you had. All you've got's a sword, not like a samurai sword, just a sword, right? This is one we've had with me and Tom Starling used to do these one. This is one we got trapped on a couple of times. You got to fight a grizzly with that sword, or you got to fight a wolf with bare hands. Which one are you doing? Because
I think I'm going grizzly with the sword.
Have you seen how big a grizzly is?
Yeah, I know, but
mate, we went down the rabbit hole on this. We was googling a grizzly's claws 4 inches long and all knives. So they've got 4 knives on each hand. There's 7 foot summit, and you've got you and this little sword. Do you know what I mean? But then a wolf, then
bare
hands, and they're massive and all, bigger than an Alsatian. And if Alsatian come out with bare hands, there's not a lot I could do.
It's an interesting predicament.
See, these are the things we used to have. These are the coffee times that we used to have. These scenarios for hours.
You got Serena Williams at the other end of the court.
Yeah.
You play 3 sets against her.
Oh, I'm shocking at tennis. She's winning.
Do you reckon you're getting a point?
No. 3 sets. I get the odd scruffy just hits the nets and dribbles off her. That's the only chance. I'm not getting one back over. I'm useless at tennis. Football, 1-on-1, might give her a chance.
That's just stupid. What about you? You're in with Deontay Wilder, not Fury. So Wilder's got that one punch knockout. Do you reckon you can get around?
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
I'm fucking glad you said no.
I reckon I'd get about a minute and a half. I'm kidding. I just wanted to see your face.
You will wind me up, won't you? You will wind me up. But, mate, these are some of the chats that... there's many more.
The other one was the cricket one.
Oh, yes.
The cricket one was a good one.
This is a great... Against, like...
Nathan Lyon or something
Nathan
like that.
Lyon or Shane Warne, rest his soul.
So, how many... Over 6 balls, how many are you hitting against Nathan Lyon?
Yeah. Or you get 10 overs against them.
Yeah, right. 10
Because you don't want to do the fast bowlers because they'll knock you out.
No, yeah, they'll just
That's
knock you out.
dangerous.
Spin bowler.
Spin, because like, it doesn't look that hard.
No, but it is. Still quick, innit? But people underestimate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
10 overs, how many points you getting?
How many runs?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not a cricket guru.
Even if I've got unlimited...
You got unlimited outs.
Unlimited
if
wickets.
he keeps getting you out,
Yeah.
it's fine. You can keep going.
I reckon I'm struggling. And if he's got his fielding set up...
Yeah, he's got his full fielding set up. You just can't get out. You've got 10 overs.
I reckon I'd be made up if I got...
He can put his field however he wants it.
I'd be made up if I got 2.
Would you?
Yeah.
2 runs?
Yeah,
what about if you just scruffy just a big...
Yeah, but you got to remember, lad. He's got his fielding team.
No, but he's 6 it. Just need one out of 60 bats. You just need one. Just that connects.
You make a great point, but until I get this large sum of money, we're probably never going to find out.
So Nephew, when we get this cash, we're coming.
Stephen Henry.
And the frame.
Are you sinking a red? Oh. Are you getting off? Are you getting off the duck?
No. Who breaks first? Who breaks first?
Fuck off, like it matters. Right,
Who breaks first?
All right, let's go. Him.
No.
You.
Yeah.
What? So
I'm kidding. I'm not getting any. I don't think you're getting a red.
I'm glad you're saying this.
I reckon a game of pool, I'm more of a chance because it's a lot more spread out, shorter table. I reckon if he messes up one chance, if he's nearly cleared up, and then all of a sudden there's like 6 yellows, I reckon I'm a chancer. If he just misses the black and he's left it over a bag, and I'm like, I can at least get 1 yellow in here. That's my only chance. But he's got to stuff up.
Well, maybe I don't know who the top player pool is, but
I
reckon deep down,
add up. I like you.
I know you do. That's why I mentioned it.
I'm not very good, but I reckon once I start practicing, Stephen, watch out.
Oh
Stephen
dear.
Hendry, 76
and the frame. I was going to talk about member berries, but I thought
I was watching that last night. Not the member berries one, but South Park. Yeah. Love South Park.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Anyway, we'll wrap it up, Podgy. It's been a fantastic chat, but before we finish up properly, I nearly forgot. Do you know what I feel like? Or do you know how I feel?
No.
I feel like a Tooheys or 2, because this next part of the show is brought to you by our great mates at Tooheys. So if you fancy a beer, watch a State of Origin or anything, make sure you have a Tooheys. They are absolutely outstanding. I think we're organising gift packs for our guests, but unfortunately, mate, they've been delivered in time.
Can peel an orange in his pocket, this man. Honestly.
Do you know I've used that phrase?
It's the best, I'm telling you.
And like everyone's like, what do you mean by that? I'm like,
well, he's that tight. He's always got his hands in his pockets. Can peel an orange in them.
Brilliant. Right. If rugby league didn't exist, what do you think you're doing?
I probably know what I'm doing. Same as my other brother Richard, rendering for my second oldest brother Dave. He's got a rendering company. And when I was out of work for a little bit and all before I went full time, I was working for him. I didn't do a lot, made cups of teas and drove around sites, but I'll probably be working for Dave, getting told what to do, rendering. So I'm glad that's not happening.
I can imagine a renderer called Dave.
Yeah, that's my brother. I mean? Yeah, like he loves it.
Hi,
like,
Dave.
He'll pull up outside of an house and he'll go, whoa, stop. And he'll go looking at this render on it. Oh, really? Yeah, they've put a gloss finish on that. And I'm like, Dave, come on. But he's good at what he does, that's probably why. But yeah, and then Rich's phone will ring and it'll be Dave. I'm like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It's about work. I'm not answering that. Anytime after 5, Rich just screens Dave. Is this work or golf? Work. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Well, thankfully you're not rendering.
Yeah.
Rugby league does exist. The most interesting person you've met on your journey can be anyone from family to friends to people in the rugby league world, because there's some interesting cats. That
there is. Yeah. I don't know. There's been a few. There's been like obviously you get lots of one-offs like when you're in a team that bring people in and stuff like that. But probably the most interesting I always think of it someone who I'd like to pick the brains the most, and that's probably Damien Hughes, psychologist, sports psychologist. He did some work with us when I was at Canberra back in I think it was 2017, and yeah, he was one of them blokes who always kind of wanted to ask him a little bit more and pick his brains a little bit more. I liked how he looked at things in terms of the world and sport, and he just kind of flipped the script on it. So he was one of them, I reckon.
Yeah.
He was my most interesting one.
I was kind of expecting you to say John Bateman.
He's interesting for different reasons.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm more thought of like, obviously I have mates that are interested in some, like, you know, some of the family, and that's pretty interesting. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just
one of the all-time greatest hangover stories is when we were in that cafe in Brisbane.
And he's sat eating Eggs Benedict. Tom, and he's eating an Eggs Benedict. Like, how can you be
didn't we hear him ask for it as well when like the waitress came? He's like, I'll just have some Eggs Benedict, please.
Yeah.
And we're like,
he's pulled out of the sky. Who's eating that when you got stomach rough as out and you're just being out and I'll just have Eggs Benedict, you know. But it'd be David Hughes. There's some characters in rugby, but I always think of him in terms of someone who I want to pick the brains a bit. So
sliding doors moment that you think about in life, maybe what would have happened had you gone the other way?
I don't know. Pretty hard one because I always knew what I wanted to do. Didn't really have.
But was there even on that pathway, like maybe it's coming over here, going Roosters a year early?
No, it was probably the sliding doors moment would have been for me leaving Hull FC. That's probably the time I look at and look back and thought, if I hadn't made that decision, what would I have done? Because as I touched on, I want on a lot of money, was struggling to just make sure I had everything week to week in terms of eat right and do everything right, and then so I always wondered what would have happened if I didn't leave there. I think that was probably the biggest decision of my career. And then the second one was obviously leaving OK to come to Canberra, but I think that's probably my sliding doors moment. It was a big decision, especially at that age at 18. Pretty proud of my younger self looking back, making a tough decision like that. But thankfully it was the right one.
Yeah, you should be proud of that decision, mate. It'd be difficult to get your head around at 18 with no manager.
Yeah, and I think sometimes as when you're young as well, and I found that with some players, especially in England, they're very comfortable. Like they don't want to leave the little city, and at Hull's very much like that. You don't want to. Not many people leave. Like, I'll just sign again at Hull. Like, they don't think about playing in front of the team or whatnot because they just they're comfortable where they're at. The mum's around the corner, and so that was obviously moving to two whole different teams, but I was comfortable where I was at. I knew all the coaches, knew they wanted me to stay, knew the players. So it was it was a tough decision, but probably that was my sliding doors moving from FC to KR. Yeah.
Well, Josh, it's been fantastic to speak to you. You've been angling for a while to come on. I've always replied, chance would be a fine thing, Josh.
Thanks for having me, Jamsy. Peep shot. I want you to go loud.
Mate, I've saved it till the end. Saved it till the end.
Peep shot. If you haven't watched it, you got to watch it. You'll get that straight away.
Yeah. All right, Hodgie, it's been fantastic to chat with you. Mate, I've loved it. I really have. It's been great to go through memory lane. And thanks for joining us here on the Byround.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Cheers, lad.